Hi everyone, this is Cheryl and welcome to my sewing room. I'm going to demonstrate how to make this really pretty oven mitt and pot holder set. This makes a great gift idea. Remember, Mother's Day is coming up pretty soon, but you can also get a head start and start making Christmas presents now. So let's get started. Get one of your old oven mitts that you already have and turn it front side out. So I usually just go down here at the bottom and push it in and grab a hold of it and beginning to pull it front side out. Okay, and there you go. Place your fabric that you want to use on the outside. Just take one layer for now. Have the front side facing down on the table, so you're looking at the back side of your fabric. And all you're going to do is just loosely trace around this. Okay, so you're getting that seam area in there. So trace around the entire glove. So here's my lines. So your pattern should look something like this. Bring both pieces of fabric for the outside and bring them front sides together and place a few pins around to hold it together. Now you can either use scissors or a rotary cutter, and I like using a rotary cutter because it's just really easy for me. And go ahead and cut your pieces of fabric out. Take one of your fabric pieces, lay it on top of your Insul-Bright, and I have my Insul-Bright double folded. For each glove you'll need 2 Insul-Bright and 2 cotton battings. So go ahead and cut the Insul-Bright and the cotton batting out. Here's how I recommend you layer the fabric. Place the Insul-Bright down and then the cotton batting. Then place your fabric front side up on top of it. And if you have these little clips, I recommend you clip around the edges, or you could pin. And then do a zigzag stitch around the edges of both sections. For the loop, take a 2-inch wide piece by 4.5 inches long. Fold it in half and then press it. Then unfold it and bring the edges in towards that center fold and press again. Bring the other side in and press it. Then fold it in half and press one more time. Stitch it close to the edge right along here. Take the loop, fold it in half, and place it about 1 inch from the top edge. So go down about 1 inch. And I would place a pin to hold it in place. Take your other side of the oven mitt, bring it front side down, and again I would use the clips because it's very thick right now. So place clips, then stitch a 1/4 inch seam all along the edges right here, and back stitch up at the top here and over here. I have darkened the seam right in here so that you could see where I was cutting. If you have really sharp, small scissors, you want to go in and cut in through here. Now, it took me a little bit of time. I had to do one layer at a time and then flip it over and then in on the back because it's so thick by now. The other thing I advise you to do is to trim some of this seam off in here. I also suggest that you trim some of the seam off that goes around the thumb because it's not going to look very rounded if you don't. It's going to bunch up and it's not going to be easy for you to get your thumb in there. And then also take a little bit more off over here so that it will also lay better. Then reach inside and begin turning it front side out. And push against the seams so that they will come out looking rounded. Measure the area around the top edge of the oven mitt so that we can cut fabric to bind the edges up here. So cut a piece, I would say that's about 4 inches longer. You want a little extra. Then take that fabric piece, it's 2.5 inches wide, fold it in half and press it. Take the binding piece and put the raw edge up against the raw edge of the oven mitt. And I started putting it in there right where the seam is on the side where the loop is. Once you get it all pinned in, then mark where the two ends meet. So I hope you can see this. Just fold it back like this and then mark with a pencil or fabric marker where the two ends meet. Okay, then you'll have to unpin this just a little bit, and at your sewing machine stitch the two ends together here. So now it looks like this, and if you have excess fabric to cut off, go ahead and do so. And I'm just going to use a rotary cutter and trim it off. Pin everything back down, and here's my seam, and I pinned my seam open. Then go ahead and stitch 1/4 inch seam all the way around. Pull the binding out, fold it over to the outside, then place pins all around the edge to hold it in place. Then stitch around the top edge along the edge of the binding. Okay, now let's move on to the pot holder. For the pot holder, you'll need 4 4.5 inch squares. 2 that are the same color, and then you'll need another different color that are also the same. You'll also need 1 piece of fabric for the loop that's 4.5 inches by 2 inches. You'll need 1 piece of fabric for the back of the pot holder that is 8.5 inches square, and you can either use the Insul-Bright and 1 cotton batting or 2 cotton battings. Take the squares and stitch them together like this. Stitch a 1/4 inch seam on both of them. Then press the seam on the back side and unfold it and press the seam on top. And as you press this seam on top, push against this seam so that it goes towards the darkest fabric. So you do that on both. Then after you've done that, then take one and flip it so that it looks like this. Bring them on top of each other. Make sure the seam on the bottom is going in the opposite direction than the seam on top. Then place a pin and then stitch 1/4 inch seam across there. After stitching, press the seam on the back side, then unfold and press it on top, and try to press this seam all in one direction across here. Place your cotton batting down, or your Insul-Bright with the cotton batting. Place it down first. Place the fabric for the back. Have the back side against the cotton batting and have the front side looking up at you. So this is the pretty side. Pin your loop and make your loop just like you made the loop for the oven mitt. Pin it in the center. take your other piece with the four squares on it, lay it on top, and place pins all around the edges. After pinning, then leave an opening at the opposite end of where your loop is. So the loop is up here, and down here I'm going to leave an opening. And leave it wide enough so it's going to be fairly easy to turn it front side out. So then start on this side of the opening, back stitch, stitch down to this corner. When you get a 1/4 of an inch away, because you're going to do a 1/4 inch seam all around, stop, leave your needle down through the fabric, lift up your presser foot, turn the pot holder, lower the presser foot, and continue stitching. That way you don't lose your place when you go around corners. So do that at all your corners and finish stitching over here, and then back stitch when you get to this spot. Before you turn this front side out, trim some of the fabric off of the corners. I like to trim mine down to about 1/8 of an inch wide. So I first cut across there like that. Then I want to get a little off the sides on each side of it. So do this on all 4 corners. Reach in between the fabric for the front and the back side and begin turning it front side out. Reach inside and begin poking the corners out. Fold the opening edges inside of the pot holder. Place pins to hold. Then stitch close to the edge all the way across. And one more stitching that I recommend you do, and that's to keep all of the layers of fabric together while you're using it, is to do stitch in the ditch. The ditch is the seam right there. So you want to stitch right down there in that ditch, that seam area, all the way down, and then stitch across here. And when you're done, this is what it looks like. This is the front, and then here is the back. For more oven mitt and pot holder projects, play this video until a green screen appears, and then click on the links. All right, you guys, let's do it right this time. This is take 3. If you like this video, click on thumbs up, and then click on share to share this video with your friends. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click on that red subscribe button down there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Click on the little bell and enter your email address so you can receive email notifications about my latest video. If you're not receiving those notifications, go to your cell phone or iPad, click on settings, and turn notifications in the on position. This is Maria, this is Manny, this is Jamie. So glad you came to my sewing room. See you next time, and happy sewing!